Well, we'd like to welcome everyone to on Zoom and on LinkedIn Live for our demonstration, our discussion of what I think is one of the largest challenges the AEC industry faces. And I've coined it as the now and the wow. So very happy to have along with me Tom Simmons from Arc Vista Consulting in the Bay Area of California. And Tom, could you take a moment and tell us a little bit about the work you do helping companies go to BIM?
Sure. Well, we're, as you mentioned, we're based here in Bay Area, California. We have clients up and down the coast, and we really help them to kind of get up and running with building information modeling, specifically Archicad, but also other products that we represent, like Twinmotion and other things. But really, it's just trying to help people get more efficient and really getting to use the software in a way that will help them with their design process much better. And it's fun. We really have a lot of great clients around here.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for a while now, haven't you?
Yes. I used to work for an architecture firm, so I'm an architect by training, but started the business about 97, I believe it was, or 98 was when I left the firm I worked for here in the Bay Area. So yeah, I've been around this for a while.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today. You're going to provide some context to what we're talking about. First of all, let's talk about this issue of the now and wow, how I see this. Architecture firms, interior designers, home builders have to produce two main deliverables. The first one I call the now, and that involves creating drawings, coordination, maybe making a quick estimate. Okay. These are all things that are necessary. If you don't create the drawings, you don't get paid. It's the reality in our industry. But the other characteristic of these things is that they often need to be done right now. So there's an urgency to getting them out. There's another deliverable from the in the industry now, which is growing. 10 years ago, not so much, but it grows and grows. I call it the wow. This is what draws customers to you as an architect or designer. Your amazing designs, right? The visualizations, virtual reality. These are experiences that impress your clients, drive new business to you. Tom, do you agree with the fact that the now and wow are the two main deliverables that we have or that companies have to deliver today?
Without a doubt. In fact, the growing need for, or I should say, not need, but the clients of our clients are now wanting more virtual reality, interactive types of apps, just a way to immerse themselves in the designs. Because one of the things I think is really hard for a lot of clients is to be able to really truly understand the design. And that's where that wow comes into.
Yeah. Now you have to do the now and you have to do the wow. That's the reality. I think it's fair to say that. Here's the problem. Here's the challenge of the wow and now. Companies are still more aligned. Like they started with the now and they have those kind of processes set. And now they're adding the wow. But these, in many companies, are two different train tracks. They're two different processes. Sometimes they're done by two different sets of people. And here's the problem. But first of all, let's talk about what the deliverables are. On the left, again, it's drawings, coordination. The typical software you might use here is Revit, AutoCAD, Bluebeam, maybe even Microsoft Excel. These are products that are used in the now to get the job out. Products that we see typically used in the industry, first of all, the deliverable on the wow is great design, visualization, virtual reality. And the typical software would be something like SketchUp. SketchUp's probably the biggest wow product out there. Netscape, I'm sorry, Enscape, I mean, Netscape from a while ago. Lumion, 3D Studio Max, sometimes I see out there. So you have these two different train tracks. You have two different sets of deliverables and two different sets of software, and sometimes two different sets of people. Here's the problem. That as a project pinballs through, people go from the now to the wow and back and forth, backtracking, retracking, skipping tracks. Tom, do you see this as a problem?
Without a doubt. In fact, a lot of our clients, they start off with SketchUp or some other program, and they kind of rebuild it, right? And in order to go back to what they need for the deliverables. And it's a big problem. I mean, a lot of our clients end up spending a lot of money and losing a lot of money when they end up having to rebuild their work.
Yeah, it's a pinballing process. And there's something, the gap, as the project goes on, the gap gets bigger. So what I call the gap between the now and the wow is the ow. The ow is what is the between the now and the wow. In other words, there's pain. There's pain. Let's talk about how much pain there is between this problem. I ask people every time I do this demonstration, how much duplicated work are you doing as a firm? If you're a home builder or an interior designer, how much are you duplicating between 2D and 3D? Tom, what answers do you find out in the industry? How much work are these companies duplicating?
Well, we see a lot of this, actually. A really great example, I'll give you an example of, I have a friend who works for a large company here in the States, and I cannot name the name because he wouldn't like me to do this, but he's one of the principals there. And when he went from a firm that actually used Archicad to this company, he was amazed at what they did. They start with two teams at the beginning of a project. One's on SketchUp, the other's on Revit. The Revit team is following the SketchUp team as they move through the process. And they're completely rebuilding the Revit model to match the SketchUp model, the design team, as they go through all the way through design development. So if you can imagine, two teams building two models all the way through design development before they hand it off to the Revit team to continue the construction documents. And while we don't see it to that extreme in every firm, we do see this kind of process going through most firms. And it's a lot of lost work and a lost revenue and budget, time that Archicad solves.
For sure. This is the number that I get. This is on average. Maybe 20% is the. I hear sometimes people say like, "Well, we only duplicate 20% of our work." And Tom, I don't know what to say to this because the way they phrase it is like, "Well, it's only 20%," and I think I'm going insane because if I were to say to that same person, "Oh, no problem. How about you just take 20% less on your jobs? Is that okay?" "Oh, no. 20%, that's a huge amount to lose out of your project. We wouldn't give that up." Tom, it's the same money. Whether you spend it in workflow or you lose the money on revenue, it's the same money. And sorry for ranting here, but sometimes I don't know what to say. One customer said when he saw the bucket of how much duplicated work it is, he says, "I don't just feel like that's my profits. I feel like that's my blood, sweat, and tears." What do you think, Tom?
Oh, I agree. I mean, Grassoft did actually a survey of all their clients worldwide, and they found ROI was about 33% with Archicad. So that's a big return on investment.
Yeah, for sure. Now, speaking of Archicad, of course, we all three of these products, we'll actually demo all three if all goes well here today. We're going to just touch on them. But this is a typical Archicad workflow. It's basically people work on a process that represents it's somewhat linear in the sense that there's not a lot of backtracking, retracking. As you move design forward, you move visualization forward, you move your drawings forward. Maybe there's some detour for coordination, but you come back quickly. And you can keep designing and keep drawing and keep visualizing as the project goes through. Do you see this with other programs, or do you see this with your customers? In other words, do Archicad customers use a lot of other software like SketchUp and AutoCAD? What do you see?
They do actually. I think customers not only use SketchUp, but they use Photoshop to repair renderings. When render quite well. They use Illustrator or other programs out there for page layouts that Archicad can do as well. So I mean, yeah, there's numerous programs that people use, and that's not to say that Archicad's going to solve the problem of being only one program that you use, but it does reduce the amount quite a bit, and more importantly, it reduces the one area which is rebuilding models, which is where most people spend the most time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well now I know you're usually driving, so is it okay if you let a rookie here drive the bus and take a look at Archicad? All right, so what we're proposing here is you get Archicad, you have Twinmotion, you get BIMX included. This is like the dream team. It's one software purchase. We consider it one software stack that integrates very closely. if not seamlessly. So let's talk about this. Let's go through how Archicad can really help us with the now and the wow. Our position is, of course, my personal belief. I know Revit, I know Archicad, I know Bluebeam, I know AutoCAD. My belief is Archicad-based workflow is the best in the world for doing the now and the wow at the same time. Okay, so you can be the judge as we go through. Appreciate any comments. Thanks for some of the comments on LinkedIn. Feel free to comment as we go through. The first thing I notice is when you take someone into an Archicad model, they kind of go, wow, like that looks really nice. In fact, in a flattering sort of way, they say, well, it kind of looks SketchUp like. Now those are flattering words because SketchUp is a very nice visualization or design software. For example, let's just go inside the building. Take a look here. I'm going to go inside this building. I'm going to click on this little walk guy here. Again, this is right inside the BIM model, our main repository for project information. And I'm going to walk around using my keyboard, just like a video game, right? Just like, you know, the way youngsters play these games and, you know, assassinate people. Well, I'm just kind of looking around. No assassinations here, Tom, but we're able to very quickly, smoothly go browse through our model, right? So it's very beautiful. Right off the bat, do you get people commenting on how good an Archicad model looks just out of the box?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know, I've actually people who actually also just say it feels like they're getting their design back, you know, because the software they used before was just so kind of, you know, bland, and Archicad feels fun.
Right. Exactly. Okay, let's take a look at our floor plan here because we do have floor plans. It's not just 3D software, but I'm going to just tour us through kind of some nice stuff here. This marquee tool, like it's just the most amazing little tool. I'll show you what it kind of does. I'm just going to kind of draw maybe through the stairs here. And basically I'm just going to kind of cut a section through a 3D section like that. Okay. Now what I love, it's like one click. F5. I click on F5 and I'm taken into a whole different world, right? Where I'm actually cutting that building through that spot. Of course, amazing to even have customers live looking at this. Works beautifully. But it's not like you're just stuck in this 3D world. So nice, beautiful feature to go in here and say, I want to create a new 3D document from 2D. So it's taking the wow and taking like a live camera on it into a document or into a view, depends on how you just want to conceptualize that. Right? And as we look here, we have a document. Of course, these lines are vector based. They look good. And we're able to, for example, in here, add text. Right over top. Now this view could be, you know, all the geometry. It's live. If we change anything, it'll update. Tom, do you see a lot of people doing great stuff with these 3D documents?
I do, actually. It's great, not just for presentations like you're showing here, but also for the documentation for detailing. Because a lot of times you'll take you know, these models and develop them with a great level of detail, and then you can pull a 3D view out like this, turn it into a black and white view, not just a color view, that you can then use for your documentation.
Right. Okay. Now, I'm just going to open a few of these other ones. I know I'm cheating on this demo a little. I'm just kind of showing the best of, but you know, when I click on these, like, there you go. I mean, that's...
That looks like it led right into it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. It's like you almost have the script. There we go. Let's take a look at another one here. And this is right in the BIM model. We're not doing it. I mean, this one blows my mind. How many people start in AutoCAD or start in Revit and then export this to like Photoshop to create a view like this, right? Like, how many people out there have a view that's this nice inside their BIM model, right? Just a wonderful thing. Take a look at this guy, see what's going on here. Now, obviously Archicad looks good on the wow side. Now, how about the now side? There's another, amazing view of this that could be used for documentation or whatever purposes. Archicad also has views that are set up, sheets that will have like the floor plan. So the information, we have dimensions here. We have the, if we click on these elevations, they might take just a second to load as it generates the model. But what we're seeing here is we're seeing Archicad, it kind of does the wow, but also really handles the now as well. So what's the advantage of using Archicad as a one-stop place for our documents? What do you think?
Well, I think that, the importance of it is that the changes that you make in any of the views are going to be updated in all other views, right? And the part that people often forget is the design process is a process where, you're constantly making changes within the model and to your design and to the idea and concept that you're coming up with. And to be able to have that information, change all the other documentation and views, et cetera, schedules, and have those updated as part of that process makes a huge difference in the workflow and saves you a huge amount of time and also reduces errors.
Right. Absolutely. No question about that. So could you say that in Archicad, you focus on the wow, and it kind of gives you the now for free? Well, would you say that, Tom?
I would say that, yep.
Okay. That's an important thing because, the now is very time consuming. And we'll just flip over here just to show, like, for example, things that are tedious, like door schedules. These are things that no one really, dreams of doing. It's just necessary. But Archicad's doing this necessary work for you automatically. Like, these are automatically being populated, right? Yep. So it's a huge change in thinking, right? We focus on the wow, and Archicad's giving you the now. All right. Now, I'm going to take this to another level here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share out my my phone, and there's a little app I have here. Of course, this demo is live, so anything can happen, but I have Tom here, so nothing bad's going to happen to me today. So what I'm just going to do is share my phone out, because one of the deliverables from an Archicad model is not just one of the deliverables from an Archicad model is not just the 2D documents, but we can save it out to a format called BIMX. Okay, and I'm just gonna do my screen. There we go. Click on here. You're gonna see a number on my screen, 4276. Okay. So now you are observing my desktop, my phone, and it's live, just to show you. So I'm going to click over here to BIMX. Now, this app is probably the greatest app for combining the now and the wow in one format, right? So I'm going to click on this one called Ransom Canyon House. And let's just take a look at a floor plan here. And you click on a floor plan here, and in our model, I can flip my phone this way, and it does that. Okay. So you can see here, I have this floor plan. It's web enabled on the 2D. And of course, we have our dimensions. We have all that jazz, right? But this button over here, right? I click on that on my phone. What happens? Boom. The now and the wow are together. So I still have my dimensions. I still have my annotations. But then I'm able to see very easily the 3D representation. Do some of your customers use BIMX, and what are some success stories that you've seen, Tom?
Well, it's a great app, for people to present their projects. A great example, we've got a client who's a kind of a combination of interior design and architect. And just for them to be able to walk their clients through the model like this, just like you're showing, is incredibly powerful. And I think one of the big things that people forget oftentimes is that the clients of architects, the homeowners, or retail design developers, whoever it is, oftentimes cannot fully understand and do not fully understand the 2D drawings. And so for you to be able to connect those 2D drawings with the 3D model like this is just really a very powerful way to convey your design ideas to them in a way that they probably will better understand it than just seeing the 2D drawings.
Absolutely. And I want, thanks for, BIMX really changes lives, really. But I just want to show everyone this. We have the role of the drawings inside the BIMX model, right? So we have the now inside of the wow here, right? So here's they attached a little bit of drawings there and a cup of coffee for us. So that's nice of them. Now, in terms of virtual reality, this is out of the box VR as well. So for example, I'm going to click up here to my box here, and normally you'd use like a Google Google Cardboard, but I think I can do it without it. Just give me a shot here. I'll click there and look as I turn around. So out of the box, virtual reality. As I look around, it's wonderful. Of course, I can learn to walk in it. I can learn to move around, but this is really nice for just out of the box, getting people acquainted with what you're doing. It's fantastic. So thanks for helping me out with that one. Let's flip over here. What I want to do is go back to Archicad here. Sometimes killing reflector is a bit of a pain, but we're going to go see if there's any no additional questions. So that's good. Let's just flip over. I guess the real question is, can we use, what's the, is it easy to use? So everything that we say, wow, this is great, but like how hard is it to use Archicad? Can someone design inside of Archicad? So these are issues. Often they choose these other software because they're easier for the designer. So if you'll follow along with me here, Tom, I'd love to just kind of start a design from a PDF. Now, I'm not going to do anything amazing in my design, but I just want to show the things that I love about Archicad. That is the reason why it can be used in the design context as well. What do you say?
Sounds great.
Okay.
See what you can actually design here.
Yeah, well, I'm not a great designer, but what we'll do is we're just going to take this PDF here. It's just a normal PDF. I haven't done any manipulation to it. It's literally something I took from a client. I borrowed from a client. So we'll just drag this in. That's how easy it is to start designing in Archicad. It starts with dragging a PDF or a DWG in, and it's like, boom. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to undo that because there's one little step I want to do here first. So let's go undo. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do that is just, because it's a PDF, it has to scale the PDF. So I'm just going to set the scale of this view so that that PDF will scale properly when it comes in. So that's just the one little thing we're going to do. But the same procedure, we just drag and drop, and boom. We can see here, very easy to drag this around. Kind of just want to drag it around so it's in kind of the center of the area here. Maybe these are some existing buildings here, right? And maybe we're going to put a new building in here. So we'll take a look at that for sure. I guess my question for you, I'm going to explode this, but my question for you, Tom, is, isn't Revit, couldn't you use Revit for doing some of this stuff? Like, isn't it a wow software as well? Or how do you perceive that in what you see in the industry today?
Well, I mean, both Revit and Archicad are BIM programs, but Revit is not a design program. In fact, a lot of firms get frustrated using it for the design process. And so, what you see is the majority of firms that use Revit tend to use another program for the design phase, like SketchUp or Rhino. And then they basically rebuild the models. We keep coming back to that problem of rebuilding the models. And, and that's really the case. I mean, Revit, yes, is like Archicad as it's been programmed, but it was originally designed as an engineering program, which is one of the problems, and then over time moved into being an architectural software as well. But because its heritage is engineering, it really does feel like that as a design tool, as a tool, and not like a design tool.
Yeah, when it comes to design, the feel of the tool is probably more important than anywhere else. It would be hard to design with a dull pencil, and or to design in color when you only have black. So the tool we use for design, like I'm not a building designer, so I'm just seeing what other people have said. The tool they use for design has to flow with them. I'll show you what I love. Of course, I'm a Revit guy as well, so I'll show you what a few of the things, Tom, if you don't mind, I'll show you a couple of things I like about Archicad that are just fantastic for someone who's just new to BIM. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here to this tool called More. Now you can see I exploded my PDF. So these are all lines now, and believe it or not, in Archicad, like these actually could be manipulated as lines. Of course, we're not going to do it that way, but they certainly could, which is fantastic. It's to scale. I'll just grab a measurement here. Again, I may not snap exactly to the points here. We'll grab from there, and we'll zoom up here, and we have 85 feet. So it's scaled. I mean, right out of the box, that's nothing short of amazing, right? Just amazing. Now, I'm going to use a tool called Morph, which is very SketchUp-esque. And then I'm going to just hold down my space bar, because I just love how simple this is. If I hold down my space bar, it's going to give me a process called the magic wand. As I click on this, it kind of grabs all that geometry, and boom. Now we don't see what it's done yet, but we'll just grab another one of these guys there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the site, but I'm going to make a mesh out of the site. So we'll grab mesh, earth, and we'll just go here. Again, I'm just holding down the space bar. That's all I'm doing. And from the PDF, let's flip into 3D. And this is kind of what I was able, not too bad. I'll call it a little flat, but not too bad, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll just click on this guy here, and really from this thing called a pet palette, again, another just fantastic tool, because in Archicad you can focus on your design. I always wonder, why do people love Archicad so much? It's because you're driving a high performance car and you're looking at the road. This is the road, right? I'll rev it a little bit. You're looking at the console of the car a fair bit. Not to say Revit's not a fantastic product in its own regard, because it certainly is. But from a design centric point of view, this pet palette's just amazing. I'm just going to click on this guy. I'm going to grab this push pull, and I'll just grab it up here and go up. How about 30 there? I grab this guy again with a very organic kind of push pull kind of approach. So what do you think, Tom? Do you think I'll get a job?
It's looking better and better.
Okay, thank you. You're being polite. So I'm going to put a roof on it again. The same magic wand tool, right? So I've only used the pet palette and the magic wand, a morph. I'll just go to a roof, and I'll just grab this guy here and go click there. And I'll click here. And you can say, boy, Joe, what are you doing? The roof's on the ground. It's not a problem. Of course, we could have done this differently, but totally not a problem. For example, if you think in kind of a Revit workflow, then you might be inclined to grab this guy and say, okay, I want this guy constrained to the 3rd floor. That's really a Revit way of thinking. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. You can move it up. That's one way. Over here, we can use perhaps more of a SketchUp kind of way of thinking. I can just grab this here, and I'm able to move it in the vertical plane by locking in there. And I can say, well, maybe this guy's just going up the 20 feet. So in one case, I used kind of the stories or the levels. In the other case, I just moved it. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to grab all 4 of these guys. Going to grab all 4 of these guys, right click, connect, trim elements here. Okay. So those are existing buildings that I created. Now, let's just say this is a gable end. It's not a hip roof. How easy is this geometry to change? Okay, just super easy. Super easy. We're just going to grab the geometry. In Archicad, you manipulate the geometry by manipulating the geometry. Most of it you can do visually. So I'm going to click here, go to my pet palette there, stretch over here, and okay, Bob's your uncle. Let's grab the other side here. Click on that piece of geometry, go up there, tell it I want to go to that spot, and it fixes that for us. So super amazing for ease of use. What do you find? Is it fairly easy to teach, to learn Archicad, Tom?
It is. Most of our clients get up and running with it pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay. So when it comes to doing things like walls and doors, again, we don't have a lot of time. I can't do a full demo here, but the tools are just so easy to use in a general way. For example, we start the wall tool and we can tell it, you know, how high we want our walls. Let's say we're starting our new design here. We go up to a level, we can hard code values, and perhaps we just want a wall here with some stucco, right? And we draw. And that perhaps is our new floor plan that we're starting to work with. If we need to modify this, that's where that pet palette comes in so handy. So for example, we click on this wall. I'm just going to add some points here. Click here. So this is the automatic, this is dividing it into thirds. Switch my pet palette out. Okay, I can just extend this wall inside and out. Okay. So my design can organically be formed. What about the floor? Well, we should probably put a floor in there. That might be a good idea. So again, the tools are just organic and just easy to work with. So if we were to go to the tool called the slab tool here, and again, we can choose what type of a, I'm just going to click there, click what type of a slab we want. And we have all these different options. Perhaps we have carpet, wood flooring. Again, using the palette, we can easily move it up, and then we can define how that floor kind of sits relative to the ground, right? So very easy, very organic. Depending on where we click on these walls, we get different pet palettes. So just a very simple example. Again, depending on our usage, we may not need to do angled walls, but again, we click here. You know, we have options here to angle our wall. Okay. Or we click over here and we have options at the bottom here to, for example, make circular. Okay. And again, editing the geometry to update this is not difficult to do at all. So we can grab on, so I'm having trouble selecting that guy, but we'll let that go for now because I don't want to get bogged down. The other thing I just love is the library that comes with Archicad, the doors and windows. So very easy, for example, to grab a door. We can look through our library. So these are all doors that are kind of come out of the box. So Archicad comes with a very robust out of the box library of doors and windows. I know, speaking of my Revit days, the first thing you had to do in Revit was fix the door because the door just didn't look right. But this is the out of the box library. Each of these with kind of hundreds of parameters that can be edited very easily. Okay. Okay. And let's say we wanted to change this to a different wall. It's no problem. We can change this to, for example, a masonry wall. And let's say we want to modify other walls to match. There's just something very easy called an eyedropper. We just pick up this, go to Control-Alt, and we just can move the geometry. So very easy to just get our geometry out. But as we're doing all this work, we know that there are floor plans that are automatically being created. So it's not a separate step. We're able to design in this software, create these beautiful floor plans, okay, while we're creating our design. Let's check over here. Again, nothing's pre-cooked in this demo. Let's go to change these elevations. We have some elevations that are automatically being created in our project as we're going through it, right? Thoughts, Tom? Anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think you're showing some pretty good stuff there, but yeah, it is that, I mean, it is that easy. And I think that what's really important for people to understand is that to get to a very sophisticated design does not take long. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's a funny thing, like that people have lost, is fun. Because sometimes the way BIM is spoken about, it's spoken of as a big thing. And of course it is. You know, data, we talk about collaboration, we talk about Kobe standards, but you know, designers will design better if they have fun. Do you agree?
I 100% agree.
Okay.
I think fun is something we need to have in our daily life.
Yeah.
Particularly today.
All of us need more fun today. So
Right.
Archicad is fun to use, I have to say. It's one of the things I kind of love about it. Now, we just have a few minutes here. Let's again, there's much more I could show on Archicad. You know, it's just there's great stuff there, but you know, we don't have all day. We want to keep this moving. So the last thing I just want to show is you know, we've seen some out of the box, some real nice stuff out of the box for visualization. We see it creates drawings automatically. We see you can design in it. You can start your design right in the BIM product. I mean, this is revolutionary for people that are struggling between the now and wow, right? We're doing the now. We're focused on the now. It's creating the wow. We're creating the wow. It's doing the now, right? That's the real key, the secret sauce here. But Twinmotion, which comes with Archicad, if you buy a seat of Archicad, and basically you just click here and you go direct link and boom, you move into Twinmotion. Now, I did the synchronization already because I didn't want to bog down it would take maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But you can see very nice kind of, already we're in an environment where real things have been replaced. You know, we can go in here, for example, and we can see we're quickly able to change things like the location, the time of day. So for example, I kind of want my light to kind of come around. Maybe a nice sunset there. Okay, kind of happy with that. So that's one thing we can do. Very, very nice. We can also change the kind of the season we're in. I mean, if you want to talk about fun, you know, Twinmotion is fun. Okay, so now we have Seattle, just teasing. Sunny day. We're very easy. We can have the weather like that, or we can also add some seasonality to the weather there in terms of snow. Have you got much snow this year, Tom? Probably not.
Snow in the Bay Area? Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, so let's clock that down. Very easy to use. Now, what you can do in here is just to give people that impression of reality. When we get into Twinmotion, we want people to be immersed in it as if they're right there. And that's a huge part of the wow that really people need to take a look at. Designers need to be able to provide this. So what I'm just going to go here is go to my wood. And for example, I can grab and add some kind of flooring in here for our deck. Let's say we're going to grab some flooring like there. You know, we're going to make sure to put some weather protection on it, or even change the scale of the wood, right? So very easy to add. These are these real true to life materials. Even over here, this gray, for example, you know, not crazy about that. So what can we do? We can go here and replace that material out so that we get that wow feeling. So let's grab here. Now I don't really like the blue either, but it's not a problem. We just click here. For example, I just want to go for kind of more of a bronzy kind of look there, and just want my panels to be a little bit bigger there. Okay. So that kind of like that kind of a look, right? So super easy to play with design, to play with how things look, to have people experience it. Of course, the one thing that really makes a difference is to see humans in it. Buildings are made for people. So it's super important that when we show buildings, that we capture kind of the feel of how it looks. We put a character in one and it just so happened to look like someone. And I wasn't going for that at all, but he literally said, "Wow, that's me in there." And that's kind of the effect of what a solution like Twinmotion can give you. It's like they can picture themselves within the setting. So I'm going to have her talking on her phone, or we'll just have her there. Yeah, she's talking away. Or we can change her action so that she's perhaps walking even more. Hopefully she doesn't walk off the edge there, Tom. So very easy to create this environment in a few minutes that people can really relate to. Have you seen some success stories with Twinmotion going on out there?
Well, yeah, Twinmotion's been, I think, a really big new plus for our clients. They, can push Archicad right into this visualization mode, and it's real-time rendering. So you don't have to sit there and wait for minutes and perhaps hours for something to render. You see it in real time.
Right. Very good. And I'm starting to get distracted on my phone, but there's a feature here on LinkedIn Live where I talk and it recorded what I said, so I can just post it as a comment. So I'm learning stuff about I'm learning every day about this new stuff. Now to create an output on this, it's so easy as well. For example, if we go to this button here, we can easily, if we had like an Oculus system, go into virtual reality. Boom. We take people into the WoW. They're in the WoW. They're looking around, similar to what we had with BIMX. This would be hyper realistic. BIMX is more cartoonish. Actually, they both serve a different market. We find certain people relate better to the high visualization, and other people it actually overwhelms them. So there's a place for both of these, I feel. But if we wanted to create, for example, like a video here, or some kind of something to share, super easy. So let's just go here. I'm going to go to video, and all I'm going to really do is create a clip, and then maybe I'll just spin a bit, and then I'll just add another clip. Okay, that's all I have to do. Now I'll just click here, grab that, and we'll start an export on our. Grab it. I have some pre-cooked ones there, so as this is being created, what we're going to see is it's going to kind of stitch. I gave it 2 points, and then people are moving. It's just going to kind of create a movie as it rotates the camera around. Now it scares you initially here, Tom. It says, "Oh, this is going to take 45 minutes." It's totally just flirting with you. It's totally just playing with you, right? Because then it draws. There you go. It was an hour a second ago, and now it's just like, oh no, that's the old days. We can do this in 3-4 minutes. So maybe what I'll just do is I'll go to a pre-cooked one just so we don't stall out here. I can show this at the end. But for example, here's a pre-cooked one that I did, and this is just standing still. But we can try to show this, right? So the camera didn't move in this case, but you can see the realism, the people, the sunshine. You can see the water droplings. You can almost smell the clean fall air here. So how did I do there, Tom, on the demo? Not bad?
Well, I think it was really good. Actually, I think you showed a good, a diversity of what Archicad can do.
Excellent. I appreciate that support. I appreciate your comments. So let's wrap this up. In terms of the now and the wow, without a doubt, customers need both. I mean, even a home builder who typically focuses on the now, they need to jump board more than ever now and have the wow. Architects or your customers are watching HGTV. They're seeing this on TV. They're starting to actually ask for it and demand it. That's the point number one. Point number two is if you do the now and wow in separate processes, what do you get? You get the ow. You get pain. How much pain? It can be a lot of pain. 10 to 50%. I know you thought even higher. You've seen 60% at times. What makes Archicad better? Well, is Archicad a better now product than AutoCAD? Well, I don't know. Is it a better WoW product than 3D Studio Max? Well, who's to say? But in my mind, for my money, it's the best product to handle the now and WoW at the same time. Archicad combines the power of BIM with the power of intuitive design with the beauty of visualization, right? So it handles the now and the WoW, I think, better than anyone else. So Tom, first of all, do you agree with all that?
I do.
Okay.
I do agree with all that.
And what advice would you give maybe to customers who maybe they're kind of, as we talk, maybe they're thinking, yeah, maybe I am suffering some pain. What advice would you give with all your years of experience to them?
Well, I think if you want to, I think for customers today, they really need to be looking at how to stay competitive. This economy has kind of been changing dramatically this last year, and because of the whole coronavirus, of course. But I think more importantly is that we're seeing more and more clients who are embracing this technology change, and so it's creating a much more highly competitive environment. And so, in order for clients to compete and stay efficient and to so that their business will be able to get new business, right? They really need to embrace this. And I think that's something really people need to think about because, it's funny. We see a lot of clients who historically might not have been doing all this, kind of cutting edge realism and stuff. And all of a sudden they're doing it and they're finding that their clients want it. And this is what I think is really important is that clients of architects more and more are very technologically savvy. And therefore, they're asking for and requiring that the architects that they hire have this kind of technology and this kind of services.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd certainly like to thank you, Tom, for joining us and helping me out here. Appreciate all your wisdom. And hopefully you come on again with me sometime.
Sounds great. I appreciate the invitation, Joe.
Okay, you're welcome. And we'd like to thank everyone that joined us on Zoom and on LinkedIn Live, or if you're watching this throughout the week, post on my profile. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Okay, have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You too. Thank you.